Hi, everyone, and Happy New Year. I'm Ryan Murray, the music director and conductor of your Auburn Symphony, and I wanted to take a minute and tell you how excited I am about our upcoming Masterworks concert, Sublime Sibelius, on January 18th and 19th. It's going to be a really fantastic concert, opening with Lily Boulanger's On a Spring Morning and featuring my dear friend Jessie Barrett playing the beautiful Mozart Oboe Concerto. But today I wanted to tell you a little bit about the big piece on the concert, Sibelius Symphony No. 1. Now, Sibelius is a composer who we may not be as familiar with as we are like composers Tchaikovsky and Brahms, but I think he's one of the greatest composers of all time. And I think Sibelius Symphony No. 1 is one of his best pieces for a lot of reasons, but especially for us as audience members. It's still firmly rooted in the romantic traditions of composers like Tchaikovsky and Brahms, but we start to get a sense of the kind of Sibelius isms, his own unique voice coming out in the piece. And I'm going to talk a lot about this in our pre-concert talk, and I hope that you'll join us for that. But today I'll just give you a couple of quick ideas of what makes Sibelius's music so special. First of all, he uses a musical thing that we call a rhythmic ostinato. And what that means is we've got a rhythmic pattern that repeats over and over again. And he writes these beautiful long melodies, like in the finale of the First Symphony. And composers like Tchaikovsky would just let that melody spin and spin and spin. But Sibelius is sort of always trapped by this rhythmic ostinato. So while the strings are playing that beautiful different parts of the orchestra have this repeated offbeat rhythm. And that's one of the things that makes Sibelius's music unique. It's sort of got this extra layer of texture that we don't find in other composers. Another element that Sibelius uses is silence. He'll build the symphony to this huge climax, and then everything will just stop completely. And in some ways, the silence becomes louder than the music itself. And a final element that I find really interesting in Sibelius is his use of balance in the orchestra. So if we look at the first movement, it starts with this kind of rhythmic thing in the second violins that repeats for quite a long time. And the melody is in the other violins. But what happens that's so interesting is that at first the repeated rhythm of the second violins is louder than the melody. And then Sibelius writes for the melody to come up and overtake that rhythmic pattern. And then something else happens in the woodwinds and something else happens in the brass. But it's as if you were working a balance board like a DJ, and you bring up one thing and then you bring up something else, and music comes in and out of fade and in and out of focus. And I don't really know any other composer that uses that technique. And it's so interesting how we can hear the same thing over and over again, but it takes on a totally different character based on what's happening around it. So again, just a couple of the little things that make Sibelius's music so interesting. I absolutely love this symphony. I think it's the most romantic thing he ever wrote, but we still get to know the amazing and interesting composer that is Sibelius. So it's going to be a wonderful concert full of lots of beautiful music, and I can't wait to see you all there on January 18th and 19th. And please join me for the pre-concert talk, where we'll go into all of this in much more detail.